We're at the end of the week. We're just at the start of round 4 in the NBL, and NBL Now coming at you on a Friday morning. As always, Joel Peterson is my name. Alongside me is the NBL champion, Damon Lowry. Good morning, Damon.
JP, top of the morning, big fella. TGIF.
Absolutely. Nice to see you in your Australia bucket hat this morning. Few can rock a bucket hat like you can, my man. It is lovely to see. Hey, one game in the books from last night. We'll hit a few of the games across the course of the round as we go. Cairns and Perth up in far north Queensland last night. Turned out to be, I think we thought it could go either way coming into it. It turned out to go right down to the wire, maybe when we thought it may not, right at the end of that game. So Perth win 90-87. Bryce has 37, so it's his 37th 30-point game. His 12th of 35 or more, and his career best in Cairns, a venue he loves playing in. Christian Doolittle with 19 and 11. Rob Edwards had 24 for the Snakes. Sam Wardenberg 14, 5 and 7. What did you make of the wash-up out of that Wildcats win?
Yeah, I thought it was a phenomenal bounce-back biblical Bryce game. Like, he just came out hitting shots. He looked real active early. Defensively, they was picking up full court. They trapping ball screens. They scrambling. They looked energized. And you can't, like I said before, you can't come to Cairns with an attitude problem because it don't matter who those guys line up with. They're going to give you hell. But I felt like in the end, no Taron Armstrong, no Tanner Groves, didn't have a humongous game out of Sam Wardenberg, although he had a good game, not quite enough. It only fell 3 points short, but it was just Bryce's brilliance and Christian Doolittle. I'm telling you, man, Christian Doolittle, he is the grownest man in the room. Don't try to get a post-match or a halftime interview with him, though. But the work that he does is straight out of the streets. This dude just goes down to the body shop. He's got the turnaround jumper. He bullies people. Between him and Bryce, that was kind of all they needed, with a little bit of sprinkling of Dylan Windler.
His approach to life is do little, say less, clearly, as we saw in that halftime interview with Ariana, but he's a serious operator and he's having a great season, is Christian Doolittle. Perth with another bout of sort of late game issues. I was down in Tassie on Sunday when they coughed that one up toward the end with a lead. Bryce mentioned in his post-game interview with Ariana last night, that they need to do better when they're late in a game and they have a lead. Is that a worry for you at this stage of the season, some of those sort of shaky late game issues?
I mean, it's got to be an area of concern because that's a loss in Tassie they shouldn't have probably had, and obviously putting themselves in jeopardy again in Cairns. So I don't know what's happening this season. How come teams just can't inbound the ball? There's too many intricate plays for mine, but the fine line from winning and losing is too fine these days. So you got to sharpen up everything. You got to make your free throws down the stretch. Perth did a great job of taking care of the ball. Only had 7 turnovers for the game, but just decision making late. Who should the ball go to in which situation? I saw a couple early shots that probably didn't need to be taken. But yeah, those are things you can see Bryce is after the game having a nice chat with Christian. Also, just the mood of the group. They know it. It's just, like I said, the margin for error is too small this season.
Absolutely. So Cairns play Sydney on Sunday. Perth now don't play for about 9 days before they go to New Zealand in the Breakers' first game back. So it's a tough little road trip for the Wildcats, Tassie, and then at Cairns they'll go home and then they'll go over to New Zealand for their next outing. Sydney, Adelaide tonight, Damon. This has got a real feel of blockbuster, primetime, Friday night event basketball. This is going to be a very, very cool matchup. A couple of box office teams. They've already played a really intriguing game this season over at Hoops Fest. How do you see this playing out?
Wow, this game, this is a heavyweight fight right here for mine. Adelaide, who very few predicted top 6, except me, I did. They are rounded in the form. I know it's early days, still don't have a great sample size, but I feel like Adelaide has their rotations sorted. They got 4 studs in DJ, Kendrick Davis, Trez Harrell, Ice Humphries. That 5th position, it's a raffle, and they're all good. You can start Lat Mayen. You can start Sunday Ditch, put him in that spot. You got your backup point guard and Jason Kadee. If things go really haywire, I can throw in some Alex Starling, and also you got some Nick Marshall. But I feel like they have already identified themselves as a team. The Sydney Kings are an offensive juggernaut. We know this. Defensively, they can be a problem. So it's going to be some intriguing matchups. I mean, you got Jalen Adams and Kendrick Davis. I mean, damn, just that in itself right there. Xavier Cooks, who's going to guard him? I don't think nobody can guard him myself, but Trez Harrell, he might think he can. And it could be some chirping going on out there between them two. I can't wait for this one. Fireworks for sure.
Of course, DJ going against his old side. He'll be guarded by Bullquall. Then you've got Oliver and Humphreys coming off the bench. Is the Harrell-Cooks matchup the one, sort of individually speaking, that you're most looking forward to?
That's the biggest one for mine. Now, DJ in the Sydney thing, that's water under the bridge now. So that's no big issue. Bullquall will test the limits, as we all know, and DJ loves a big stage, as we all know. So Ice Humphreys, yep, he's going to do his thing, hopefully. But I don't see anything that's going to be more enthralling than Xavier Cooks in transition, Montrezl Harrell trying to get physical with him, and somebody's going to dunk on somebody, and somebody's going to mean mug somebody, and man, it's going to be great. Referees, I don't need you to get too worked up over this now. Don't go getting too whistle happy. Let these dudes play.
I think we'll see plenty of shots of them chattering away tonight, that is for sure. So that's going to be a ripper from 7:30 Eastern time at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. There'll be a big crowd in. You can catch it all, of course, on ESPN via KO. Tomorrow, a couple of interesting games. Illawarra and Tassie. This is the old styles make fights matchup where Illawarra is this high-paced offense scoring 100 points a game, and we know Tassie's a grind offensively usually. It's been even more so this season. They are struggling at that end of the floor, but they're still winning games. This is two teams with converse approach, going head-to-head, a couple of title contenders. This has got a lot in it in this game in Wollongong.
Yeah, the Tasmanian JackJumpers, they're definitely offensively challenged. In saying that, they can still put up enough points to win on their day, provided Milton Doyle and Jordan Crawford are ticking the scoreboard over. I don't think they can have a game where one of those guys are down. Both of those guys have to be firing. If Majuk Dane can produce what he did late in that game last week, they need those three guys right there. And if the game is close, Joe, I'm never tipping against the JackJumpers if the game is close. In saying that, the high-octane Illawarra Hawks, though, it might not be that close. They let one slip the other day at home to Adelaide, and full credit to Adelaide. But you got to score 100 points, I'm going to say, to beat Illawarra. Can Tassie score 100? Yes, but I want to see if it can be on a consistent basis. So I'm tipping the Hawks for that one, but it's going to be a nice battle.
So they played 4 times last year. In 3 of those games, Tassie did score 100 points. Tassie's won 8 of the 10 matchups between these two sides, 6 of the last 7. But it just feels like they're a different proposition at that end of the floor at the moment, the JackJumpers. They just haven't sorted out that rotation and how things are coming together without Jack McVeigh.
And exactly. And they're missing another big. So the Hawks got 2-3 bigs that's going to play down there, including Darius Days. He's going to be down there doing work. Will Magnay's got to be on the floor 30 minutes. And that's really not the Jackie way. So if Will Magnay gets in any foul trouble, who's the backup 5? We haven't seen Gorjak Gak. Haven't seen any of him. We're looking at some small ball 5, some Ruben Tarangi down there battling away, some Fabian Krislovich down there battling away. I don't know if that's going to be enough to topple the towers that the Hawks can put out there in Sam Frawling and Lachlan Aubrey.
It's going to be a fascinating battle. So that's the early game on Saturday. The late game is the Nathan Sobey Cup. So Brisbane and Southeast Melbourne, both of these teams winless. Southeast Melbourne 0-4, Brisbane 0-3. There's so much riding on this. The intrigue of Sobey going and playing against his old team, and it probably didn't end on the best of terms between those two parties. First of all, which team can least afford to lose this game, Damon?
Oh, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. I mean, if this was WWE wrestling, Joe, this would be the loser leaves town match. Now, the Phoenix, with all that money they spent in the offseason, all that talent on paper should not be 0-4. But the game ain't played on paper, as we know. So Mike Kelly and his troops can ill afford to lose to the bottom team. Now, the Nathan Sobey thing, Sobey's going to do the right thing and play it right down. No, nothing to see here, according to Nathan Sobey. But we all know there's a lot to see here, and we're going to play it up. Now, I'm going to agree with Derek Rucker from yesterday. They don't have anybody, I don't think, that can guard Nathan Sobey. Sobey's going to be extra charged up to get a win. But they're at home. Sobey got that thing happening. I just feel like they got too much firepower for the Brisbane Bullets, who are also offensively challenged. Now, it's going to have to be how they win. If the Phoenix win in a close game, I'm still not sleeping good if I'm Phoenix brass. They need a blowout win, 15 minimum.
Yeah, the 27 points in that first half of Brisbane last week. And we know that Southeast Melbourne can get it going. They could just play them off the floor early on, because Brisbane had that real trouble. If Brisbane were to get across the line, what do you see as being maybe the one thing they can do that knocks Southeast Melbourne out of their game?
Well, they're going to have to turn up the screws on defense. That's one thing they can do. They can slow that game right down, junk it up a little bit, and just turn it into a grind. And I don't feel like the Phoenix, that personnel, I don't feel like they collectively want that grind. They want to get up and run. So if the Bullets can control the tempo, and James Bateman is due. It's like he's had 8 at the roulette table. He's had 8 reds in a row. Damn it, black has got to come up sooner or later. I'm expecting a Bateman game, and I'm also expecting more out of Deng Adele, who went 0 for last game. So if them two can just do half of what I know they're capable of, they can get a Phoenix in real trouble and probably come out with that win.
Yeah, they need a few bounce-back performances, the Brisbane Bullets. So then you go to Sunday, Sydney and Cairns, as we mentioned, Melbourne and Adelaide to close the round out, of course. The Sydney-Cairns game on 10, and then the late game on 10 bowled as well as 10 play for both of those contests. All the action across the weekend on ESPN via KO, the NBL app, nbl.com.au, the place to go. And, of course, Supercoach is a big part of that as well. Live Supercoach scores on the app all weekend. Damon, good to see you. Look forward to catching you as part of the call tomorrow night.
That's it. All right, man.
Damon Lowry with us on NBL Now. Thanks for your company as we come to the end of another week. All the round 4 action across the weekend in the NBL. It's going to be very, very interesting.